Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Experimental Movie Director podcast number 7. Very pleased to have reached number 7. The neighbours are out, gardening, sun is shining, everything is a wonderful day. Only I got my refusal for some funding I just applied for. Well, this is a nice prompt, probably why I do some of these podcasts, to vent. I did vent with my partner this morning a bit about it, and I didn't really feel that bad, really. I expected it, given the situation, but I did vent, and I don't want to vent, so by doing this podcast, it means I've got to really think carefully about what I'm saying and consider it a bit better and look at some facts, rather than just a general nonsense. I mean, I've had funding before. It's marvellous. It's a great thing. I haven't had much success with it more recently, shall I say. It's been a thing that just hasn't quite worked for me, for whatever reasons. I don't particularly know the reasons. Nice plane flying over. I don't know what the reasons are. I guess I'm not so good at making funding applications anymore, and I'm pretty sure also my heart's not in it. I just want to get on. I don't want to do funding. I remember a dreadful thing for a documentary, and it was about 5-6 days trying to get through an Arts Council funding application that was assured me we can do film, and it was like, okay, they can do film. I'm not sure that's the case anymore. I didn't get that funding. I got some localised funding instead, but I didn't get the big Arts Council one. So, podcast number 7, eh? What do you think? That's good. When I get to 100, I'd like to think I can generate an audience. Now, this application was for a thing called Mind's Eye, which is Enhance Your Movies Fictional Minds. So I have this prospect of eye movements, and I need to get some workshops done. So I was happy to dive in. It's a good purpose. If you're switching off in about 2 minutes, at least take this away. If you're going to apply for funding, good on you. Make sure it's valuable work for you. It must be valuable work. Otherwise, there's a huge overhead of time spent getting nowhere, because even if your application is absolutely superb and spot on for what they need, you then playing a numbers game as to whether you get funding or not. So only do it if that is a useful organisation, because these funders, they know budgets, they know purpose, they know mission statements, and it gets you really hard thinking about how many people you need to be involved and how many sessions you need to do in this case. I wanted to do some workshops as a research element to develop this Mind's Eye movie making workshops, and then deliver some workshops, etc. So let's have a look. Here's my thing. I don't know if you can read that. Doesn't matter, I'm reading it out for the people on the verbal podcast. So, dear Mal Williamson, Programme, National Lottery Projects Grants, which in itself is a bit odd, because it was a research specialism part of it, and it was about, they were saying you got about a month before the deadline, before you can show, before the application runs out, and then they change things. I don't think they're changing it by much, and it was hard to understand exactly what they're changing. It's all in arts speak and admin speak. It's like, I don't know what their business is, how they run it, and nobody's happy, are they, if they don't get funding. Thank you for applying to National Lottery Project Grants. I am sorry to tell you that we cannot consider your application for funding. We know this will be disappointing news. Well, Not necessarily, and we recognise the time and effort you have taken to make your application. We carry out checks on eligibility and risk before any application can move on to the decision-making stage. So, rather embarrassing to fall at the first hurdle, but I did kind of suspect, and I was trying to place an argument of like, no, I get that, but hang on, have a look. And that's the point of this podcast. It's like, hang on, have a look, because I think it's really bad for filmmakers. Hence the title of how funding filmmakers. It's not good. It doesn't really make any sense to my version of where I think film would be, and how I think a new cinema can develop, how a British cinema can develop. My starting point is really the British film industry as such is a tax write-off, an income stream for the old Hollywood, and the old Hollywood's almost kind of gone anyway. But we do have some amazing production facilities, both down south and up north in Manchester as well now. So there's some great stuff going on, and I'm not going to complain or moan about that, am I? Maybe I am. We are not able to progress your application to the decision-making stage because your project does not focus on our supported art forms or disciplines. We decided that your project, as described, doesn't clearly focus on the art forms that we're able to support. I mean, I'd decided that as well. That was something I was like, yeah, well, I know it doesn't, but it is research. Now, my alternatives in research is to go the academic route. I've got a bit of a problem with that because the work I want to do with this eye movement is kind of, in the past, it has clashed with the ethics of the academic situation. Because the ethics of the academic situation in terms of what you're sharing to the people, how you are allowed to intervene in that research once it's started. Now, they go against the British Association of Counselling and Psychology, I think it is, their ethical framework, where interfere. If I need to, as a therapist in the room, interfere. And these eye movements are about dealing with people's inner minds. It's mind's eye. It's about marrying up an internal network perspective of the world with the fictional mind so that they can properly represent eye movements, which then properly demonstrate thinking and cognition within the script, within the improvisation, within the role of the character. And when that isn't aligned, you've missed opportunities. And basically, yes, cognition has been whittled out of cinema over the last sort of 100 years since its modern inception. And that's something that my research addresses. So it's hard within the the academic ethical framework to do this research. So it's kind of like, okay, well, I might revisit that. I did go as far as an appeal, well, the gates of an appeal, which the higher education academic ethical organisation, whoever they are, were saying, yeah, well, let's get involved in this. This doesn't seem right. This does seem something that needs addressing. I didn't have time or inclination to address that. There's plenty of other things going on in the relationships with the academic supervisors. And in my arrogance, it was enough to know that, hey, yeah, they think that's true as well. So I was pleased with that. Okay, where are we? Right, basically, look, they noted that Arts Council England supports a range of art forms and disciplines. Let's list them. Combined arts, including festivals and carnivals, dance, libraries, literature, music, museums and collections, theatre and visual arts. We noticed that your application appeared to focus on work within cinematic film and acting for film, which we cannot fund through project grants. We can fund artists' experimental work in the moving image. We can also support content in which film, video, animation or audio is the medium for current work in our supported disciplines. However, narrative feature or short films do not fall within our remit. Sorry? artists making films is a marvellous thing, and artists make films in a great way. I consider myself an artist. Why not? And how are you going to take a film as art project, which may be painting directly onto the film, it may be using film in installation or performance work, all those kind of things. What? And say there's no narrative? Narrative is structure, define narrative, let's talk about that. But they don't have to talk about it because it's an administrative position. And I kind of think it's legally challengeable, this idea, a bit like the Freedom of Information Act. It's, come on, citizens' rights, are you sure? I think this is a challengeable situation, that my work as a movie director is not an artist using film. So I'm not necessarily making a commercial project here. I'm not necessarily trying to do that. It isn't that. And I'm not necessarily making a mainstream. I'm not making something that is within the British film industry, and that's such. This was very definitely a research grant as well, but it would feed into it. It would feed into that industry. So come on, let's do it. But no, not as an artist, not just myself as an artist wanting to do some research that can then inform my next film production. Because my film productions are narrative. Whoa, we've managed to draw a line under narrative. I mean, prior to this, they had managed to draw a line under music. So for many, many years, they didn't fund music, which is an absolute shame, but now they do. So that's interesting. So again, you see, this is kind of, hang on, why don't they fund narrative film? Why doesn't the Arts Council of England fund film? Well, I hear you say, that's for the BFI, and that's what we're going to look at today. So the BFI really? No, they don't either. So I struggle with the academic kind of funding routes for reasons I've just talked about. And now I've been told I'm not an artist doing research. Thanks a lot. And they don't do narrative. Well, all the film as artwork will have a beginning, middle and end. So, tell me where there's no narrative. Okay, so let's have a look. Yeah, so it's fair enough. I expected to be rejected, but I did try in my argument put forward in the application. Anyway, it's not the forms and discipline, doesn't focus clearly on the forms and disciplines we're able to support. As the National Development Agency for Creativity and Culture, not you, not me, oh dear, sorry about that. Arts Council England supports a range of art forms and disciplines, combined arts, dance, libraries, literature, music, museums, theatre and visual arts, as said before. So yeah, absolutely fine, no problem. What can be funded there is in another place. So it's all over their literature. So I'm only a fool, but I'm not a fool because the questions are strong. The way it forces you to define my audience for these workshops, the point of my research, put that into words, put it into limited word counts, etc. That's very useful. Make a budget. Give them the headlines of the budget, but you've got to do the budget first. Again, really, really useful. Let's see what these things are actually, what I'm looking at. So by the end of it, I am clearer on what I want to do for the Mind's Eye workshops. I've just got to do them by myself and get on with it, which isn't great because that promotes my urge to, have I got to charge people more? And I won't be charging them at all now. So I'll be paying for tea and coffee. Will somebody give me a room to hold the workshops in? But also I don't get credibility because I'm doing narrative. I don't get any credibility, and they literally tell me to head off to the British Film Institute. So here's in the guidance library for the National Lottery. They're aware of this because they've got a paragraph called traditional feature film. Whilst we can fund artists' work with the in the moving image, obviously I'm not an artist, sorry about that, for some reason, and a range of creative media projects. Yeah, they love immersive at the moment, that's the latest thing. So it's a bit like, oh, things are happening and the world changes and we'll shove it into here. But they won't shove narrative film into anywhere because, as they say here, narrative feature films intended for commercial release do not fall within our remit. I wasn't applying for that, wouldn't bother anyway. The equivalent national lottery funder is the British Film Institute. Whoop-de-doo, let's go to the BFI then and let's see what actually they've got. And what you find in this is kind of a difference between the headlines that look good on paper. If any MP I write to takes a look, it'll be like, oh yeah, that's fine, come on. Or people who haven't actually gone through it applying say, oh come on Mal, don't be a moaner, you're rubbish and you didn't get funded, you know, and clearly it's not appropriate. Obviously it's not appropriate. There's lots more deserving people, and don't start trying to steal the funding for the artists and all that kind of thing. Well, it's British lottery funding, isn't it? And yeah, I think there's a legal challenge to all of this. I'm not engaging in that, but if you want to, please get in touch. Let's have a look. But I think it's very interesting, and it shows how filmmakers, we have been by this system. It's really, really, the F word, funding. Okay, so if you look at the BFI page then, so okay, trundle off to the BFI, so I've had to grab all these shots and try and make, I kind of knew this already, this stuff, but hence not bothering with the BFI, but, you know, thinking, ooh, artists, research, good for everybody, good for theatre, put that in, it's good for theatre as well, if actors are doing this, good for film as artists, I am an artist, etc., etc. I've seen lots of arts work, video arts work involving eye movement, so hey, come on, not fair, not fair. Okay, so what do? They create films, the BFI, TV or new formats. The BFI provides funding for film and TV development and production, which includes international co-productions and completion funding. Heads up, this opening paragraph explains and shows that this is all about the industry. This is all about commercial activity. So that thing where the Arts Council England are saying, no, feature films, no, feature films commercial, no, we don't do that, BFI. But they've used that BFI thing to like chuck me out on those grounds when I'm not actually even applying for that, although potentially I was. So I understand why they didn't, but let's just look at this thing. So they've got the BFI network, England short film funding. There are different Scotland schemes, all of a similar ilk. Development funding, they have the BFI Filmmaking Fund - Discovery and Impact Feature funding. And then they have the Doc Society, which seems to be a new thing. When you click the Doc Society page, it's just a holding page at the moment. So we look forward to what that is. The Global Screen Fund of International Co-Production, marvellous, really good. BFI National Lottery Creative Challenge Fund, oh, that sounds like me. Project Development Labs, yeah, that sounds like me all over. Let me into your development project lab. When my PhD supervisor said this is the most exciting research in cinema I'd ever seen. Oh no, it's cinema, it's commercial. I'm just an artist making film because Hollywood's a bust and there's so many independent filmmakers. We're all artists, come on, we're all artists doing stuff. Well, we're not all. Some of us are filmmakers wanting to get into your film industry. BFI National Lottery Short Form Animation, a program called Future Takes, and the Early Development Fund. So I haven't got a bundle on all of these, but let's have a look. Explore funding opportunities, another page of organising their proposals and their attitude. Create films TV, develop skills and progress your career, bring film to a wider UK audience, and funding activity for international. I mean, it's great. It's absolutely great. Yes, create films. This is what ACE, Arts Council of England, say, hey, look, they must have looked at the top page as well. So, hey, they make films. We're not funding this. Develop skills and progress your career. Yeah, because It's about the screen sector. It's about the 13 billion income derived by the film sector, which is equivalent to agriculture. It's a big sector. Don't mess it up, governments. So they make sure that this whole BFI is all about the industry. And what the heck is that industry these days? Come on, I'm an artist. I work independently. I work in liminal spaces. I work on the edge of things. I work ahead of the future. But no, they are legally and administratively cutting me out of all this funding. Bring film to a wider UK audience. No complaints. They've got a lot to do, the BFI, let's be fair to them. They've got the whole distribution game, the theatrical spaces, as well as the people making it, as well as people developing skills for an industry that needs skills. Why do this industry need skills in this digital age where you can fix it in the mix? Don't be silly, Mal. Of course, there's so much more to be involved, but also they do it so that it's part of the US tax break. This is something David Putnam said back in the 80s. It's been Lord Putnam. It's been the same ever since. We don't really have a British film industry. That would be us. That would be me, actually. Independent freelance filmmakers making work. That's the industry. But when we have to produce skills to make films in the way Hollywood makes films, the mainstream sector makes films, that's not quite the industry. And there are lots of people who do that work. And it is absolutely necessary, and without that quality, I wouldn't have something to aim for. It's all part of it. But I'm just saying, I'm part of it as well. Artists are part of this. If we don't have a wider definition of what the industry is, we're going to suffer. Hence, we suffer. We do suffer, because that is what the BFI is doing. The BFI is the gatekeeper, always has been, always will be. And it restricts. And it's very difficult in this digital age, in this disruption age, to live with an organisation, the national organisation, that is disrupting, and it's disrupting the disruption. Hey, that's nice. BFI is disrupting the disruption. It will not allow digital change to occur. It will not allow filmmakers to flourish in a new digital age, because it defines filmmaking so tightly to the Hollywood model. Aims of the funding. This is, because this is important. From here, you could take a right turn and start going, yeah, well, look at me, old white male. But I totally agree. Don't fund an old white male. If they just wrote that in the letter, I probably wouldn't even have any chutzpah to say anything on this podcast. It's like, absolutely fine. Don't bother funding me. I've had my chance. I get it. Economically, socially, or whatever, use the BFI money to support, public money to support people and communities and stories and lives that need a bit of support to develop within any industry, in any sector. Absolutely do that. I totally agree. So I agree with all of this. This is the BFI network aims of funding. There's 6. Number 1, equity, diversity and inclusion. Absolutely, totally agree. Don't give the money to me, give it to them. But they're not saying that. They're saying, you're not an artist. We don't do narrative. Well, look, nobody does narrative, which I aim to show in this podcast. Number 2, aims of the funding. Impact on audience. People across the UK access a wider choice of film and moving image, including stories that reflect their lives. That is bordering on laughable. Absolutely laughable. The lack of working class is a scandal. More on that later. So there's no way they're including stories that reflect these lives. Fail. Number 3, talent development and progression. Yeah, creative talent is supported and nurtured. I obviously don't have any, so they're not going to support and nurture it as they emerge and throughout their careers. So I can legitimately understand. Yeah, I'm just moaning. I didn't get funding. I'm not talented enough for it. I can get that. And it's like, I also know that isn't the issue. it's a lottery. It's literally the national lottery, but it's very hard to get that funding, and it's a lot of work and focus. I've worked across at Sheffield Independent Film, and supported organisations around that kind of money, Channel 4 money. It's great. I benefited from those as paid employment, training people and that. But I understand that world. The people that work in that world, they work hard. All these people that are actually winning these grants, they are working hard. They are smart cookies, putting a lot of effort into it, a lot of hours learn how to get these grants, etc. What do we got? Number 4, creative risk. People are better enabled to innovate and experiment creatively. A wider range of stories on screen are told that otherwise would not be. Absolute nonsense. No doubt every film that comes out ticks a box under that in some way. There's creative risk, there's innovation, what else do I say? Experiment creatively. Oh, give me a break. Now, please send me the links to the films, because I like to watch them. Some that actually, go against that. And yeah, they do. I can totally agree. Yeah, I get what you mean. Within your parameters and within your world of what film and cinema is, this is an experiment. You've used different kinds of film structures there. The scenes are a bit different. You've maybe got some different production techniques as well, but it's not really a wider range, is it? The middle class run the BFI, the middle class run cinema, the middle class run TV, and we're all a lot poorer for it. It's just not diverse enough. Not diverse. Before you get into other definitions of diversity and purposes of looking at diversity, cultural, etc., supporting different communities, just do the class thing and we're out of the picture. So it's a nonsense, this idea. UK-wide, everyone across the UK, yeah, fine, BFI network. Do you mean Scotland? Because a lot of the time you have to click the link for the Scottish answer, but okay. They should feel the benefits from the screen sector in terms of jobs and growth too. There you see, the BFI is all about the industry. It's not about developing talent in that way. It's not about new creativity as such. You can write it down, but are you writing it down just for the sake of it? Oh, you mean it? Oh, come on, Mal. Don't be, okay, don't be too cynical, but people do mean well, but it ain't creativity all the time, is it? It's about preparing people to deliver what American Hollywood and big blockbusters need. And over the years, that has become a very independent kind of cinema, and we're seeing a lot more of that now. Latest reports, the independent and latest awards, BAFTAs and Oscars, are looking at those more independent. These are independent films with tens of millions of budget, but they're individual auteur type of stories. Lovely. They're back in fashion. That's where the audiences are going from the latest reports. Finally, number 6, environmental sustainability. So aims of the funding, absolutely. Don't give it to old white man. Equity, diversity and inclusion, do that, definitely. Impact on audience across the UK, stories that reflect their lives, give me a break, what a nonsense. Talent development and progression, you're not going to moan about that, people, as they emerge and throughout their careers. Let's keep them in the industry, let's keep new filmmakers making films and contributing, and that obviously makes sense artistically. It's great. Creative risk, oh yeah, whatever. Absolute nonsense. They're kind of maybe supporting the independent auteur kind of production, so that would be their defence, I'd have thought, and it's arguable and fine, but it's nonsense from where I am, because I'm an artist. Oh no, I'm not an artist, sorry. Arts Council of England say I'm not an artist. I'm trying to make commercial feature films, apparently, and support that. Go to the BFI. UK-wide, of course, very good. And environmental sustainability, yeah, always. So about this funding, National Lottery Filmmaking Fund invests funding in a diverse range of work with creative merit and ambition. Yeah. Why not? Which the commercial sector is unable to back in full or in part. So the whole structure of BFI is there to support industry, develop industry skills, develop new voices for the industry, and yet they're claiming at the same time it's which the commercial sector won't back. Well, the commercial sector doesn't back things that no one wants to watch. Is that, I mean, BFI are going to do that? And as that commercial sector changes, as it is doing, to get more people in, there's lots of auteur movies, lots of that kind of thing happening now. The BFI doesn't need to fund it. They need to go a bit more over to me, and fund the experimental movie directors. It doesn't add up, does it? Legally challengeable, the whole scenario. Eligibility of the director. So, be a resident in England, fair enough. Now, there's a weird one here that, I do want to ask them. I should follow up and ask this, but if anyone's there from the BFI, fine. Hello. Please answer this one. The director must not be the producer or co-producer. What? Many directors are director-producers. I don't understand that. Other than very different skill set. And in the independent sector, directors have to be their own producer, and they basically can get a lot of control, a lot of creative, artistic control, but it's not how the industry's structured traditionally, and in the US and elsewhere, and on these mainstream hierarchical production values, they want the producer skill set to be separate to the director skill set. Because, of course, in the industry, your director's like an employee, like everyone else. Many directors are very unhappy in their position, as more unhappy than you and myself are, because they are directors, but they're not doing what they really want to do. They're doing what they're paid to do, and they're good at crime, so they get the crime ones, they get this, they get that. And you think of all the people working in the industry, there aren't many directors, really, compared to everyone else. Also, eligibility, not have received a commercial distribution deal in the last 5 years. Okay, what happened to nurturing talent? Yeah, sustaining it over a career. That seems to go against that policy. So obviously they've got reasons for it. Their reasons will be administrative, because these people have got the numbers. They've got the numbers of the people who are applying. They've got the numbers of the money spent on existing films and what they did. So they understand that there's something about 5 years that makes sense. Somebody in the game will know. I don't think the people in the game who know are talking about it much, because there aren't many people challenging this situation. We're just not challenging this notion of what a film is, and challenging why the hell don't we actually have a British film industry of British cinema. Now compare that to, say, French cinema. We know what it looks like. We see it. There's investment in French artistry as an important cultural impact and international impact. Same for Germany, Italy. Wow. I mean, these cinemas are backed. Now, I don't know. I ran out of time and effort to look into all these. Later on we can do. There's various European things about funding and distribution. So there is European funding that includes the UK across to help distribute films. And about 38% of that is French films getting out there, They want a British cinema. We don't have British cinema. Define British cinema. That was part of my kitchen sink drama. Wonderful, wonderful genre that the BFI have let die. It's just turned into soap operas. It's gone. But that was a fantastic, that British realist cinema was a fantastic contribution to the world. It wasn't the Italian neo-realist. It wasn't the French New Wave. It was something different. It was northern-based. Oh, yeah, that's the answer. It was northern-based, and BFI's in London. So, yeah, end of. Okay, the BFI's got an office in Sheffield now. Big wow. What else we got? Have not directed more than one BFI network England short film. So you can have a short film there. You see the trick there. Short film to feature film. What the BFI funds is talented young people, talented diverse people from different communities. Absolutely ace. Brilliant. Thank you. Well done. Get them to make a short film using all the industry rates. Everybody gets paid properly. Everyone's involved in it, developing that skill set for that 13 billion a year of inward investment, looking for that skill set, and the BFI is there to keep the training going and keep them there. So you get a short film, then you move on to the feature film, and you do it via directors. Now their short film fund's about $5,000. I have said to them and had exchanges in the past, you know that $5,000, can I apply for that and I'll actually make a feature film with it, but I won't tell you. What about that? Because 5,000 is more than I've made any of my feature films for. 500 is more than I've made any of my feature films for, apart from the one that was funded through a different scenario that was a £35,000 budget. That's the one that fell apart during production. Blah blah. I might have to cut some of that out that I've just said, because I haven't checked it legally. But yeah, £5,000 is a short film. Okay, fair enough. Well, that's good, isn't it? Pay people the daily rates. That's excellent. Just like the Arts Council do, daily rate. Mine's at £250 according to the Artists Union. See, that's where I got my daily rate from, Arts Council of England, even though I'm not an artist. In the last film I got funding via was, it was the Heritage Lottery Fund, pardon me. That was a £10,000 budget for a project. And in that, I actually had to put in kind, because the organisation just wanted to take off a bunch of it straight away for their purposes. Fair enough. But we got the funding, the thing was completed very nicely. Daily rates, yeah, right. In-kind support. There's maybe a tip, you're doing this thing, you need the funding. Funders do need to legally be doing daily rate, proper daily rates, but we can, as filmmakers, bring in our equipment for free, for instance, bring in all kinds of ideas for free, and we can offer some in-kind support, completion guarantees, things like that, that are kind of out of the scope of your daily rates, so that you can work within the funding. And I'm sure all the other artists do the same thing: dance, theatre, libraries. I don't know why libraries need funding. Shouldn't the libraries be funded anyway? It's part of that thing, isn't it? The Arts Council, oh God, we're not giving them any. Shove it in the Arts Council. So you must have some sympathy for them. But, legally challenge this one, morally challenge this. Why aren't I allowed in? Oh, go to the BFI. All right, BFI. Reminder on that, I must not be the producer of the project. I must not have had a commercial distribution deal in the last 5 years. I guess they've got some small print somewhere defining commercial distribution deal. What's that? What is commercial distribution deal? 93% of movies lose money. What is this commercial distribution deal defined as? It would be useful. And not directed more than one BFI short film. So here's your BFI short film money, Yahoo. Make the film and it better be good, because the only way for you now is to go get the feature film money. So pretty tough for you. There's some pressure for you, director and or producer. Mind you, the producer will just go the other way and say, well, it wasn't me, I produced a great film, brought it in on time, on budget, good quality, managed all the hiccups. It's the director's fault, just not very good. The writer, don't bother funding them again. Because they're the creative bits, they're the artist bits. But the BFI will separate it so the producers can go up. They can learn their skills, cut their teeth on short films, and then go up to be the next generation of producers and assistant producers, inline producers for Hollywood masquerading as the UK film industry. You start to get... This is nowhere to send me. I'm a sensitive artist. Arts Council of England, don't send me into this world. It's huge, it's political, it's all that stuff. Okay, what else have we got? Let's have a look. Applications can only be made by a person whose main role is as lead producer, lead producer. And the application must be made on behalf of, and in the name of a limited company. Registered at Companies House. Well, there's 500 or 600 quid you need every year to do your chartered accountancy for that limited company you've just had to set up to apply for this. Oh, for goodness sake, you know, I'm a freelance artist. Live on the bones of my arse, trying to make hand-to-mouth economic decisions. Now I've got to have a limited company if I want to play with the BFI. You know, I work in a cafe. I make coffee. Now I need a limited company. Great for the vanity, though. Lovely to have a limited company. I've had them in the past. Employed people, not in media, but not in film. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's hard work. It's hard work. It takes responsibility. But they do want producers, don't they, the BFI? They're not so bothered in artists or directors, writers. Oh, they are, though. They are. Come on. What else we got? A writer can be co-owned by the writer or director, provided neither of them hold more than 50%. Now, that is a bit odd. So are they forcing people, or recommending, kind of, that you go into a limited company with a 50-50 deal? Worst thing ever. You don't ever go into a limited company with 50-50. So this essentially operates as a partnership, and 50-50 can produce a stagnation where one person wants to do another, the other one person wants to do the other thing. They're voting that way as the directors and owners of that company ain't going anywhere. You don't ever do 50%. You do 51 and 49. Somebody's trying to get 75, so they got the rights to change the name and things like that. There's a lot in company law which I don't know if the BFI know about. Yeah, but sort of 50% shareholding and cannot have more than 50% significant control of the company. That's the writer or director. So it's all right if the producer's got that. Yeah. So the producer can carry on. They can make sure everything's fine because we trust the producer. We don't trust the writer. And yet, writer, director, producer, just look at the independent film sector. That's who we are. We're all that. We're recommended to do that. For all over the world, the successful people recommend it. It's a big thing. Get on and make your film. Become the producer. Do your thing. Lordy, that is so weird. So weird of the BFI to be getting involved in that kind of definition. And yeah, come on BFI, answer what I'm saying. Let's talk about that one. Okay, what else we got? So we've got this thing called the BFI Network. Let's have a look. Made possible funding, short film funding. So I think support, develop and fund early career filmmakers across the UK. So I think this is what it all goes under. It's not that clear, but I think that's what it all goes under. BFI Network. Hey, we're just a network of people. That means we're a clique. I've got your email, you've got mine, here's my number, this is us in the network. Let's get together in Yorkshire. Oh, here are the chosen Yorkshire filmmakers that are in this BFI network. They've had their first short film, they were involved in that film, now they're involved in this film, now they're eligible to go on to the feature film production. So you can't even apply for feature film till you've had the short film thing done. They're really making sure you follow the industry as some weird training curriculum, or not weird, but probably a quite sensible training curriculum to prepare people for mainstream production. I don't want to do that. I'm an artist. I'm an independent filmmaker. I don't want to prepare for mainstream production in an age where I can buy broadcast quality equipment for hobby money. Ain't doing it. I want to be part of developing a new British cinema and helping people develop that as well. And it's nothing to do with what the BFI. So why is the British Film Institute? Oh, it's the Institute bit, isn't it? It's not the British bit. And it's not really the film bit. It's the Institute bit. That's what they're bothered about. UK-wide partners. They have a network of UK-wide partners in each English region. We've got them here in Yorkshire, Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales. The BFI Film Audience Network for helping people run cinemas and have pop-up cinemas. And I was the recipient of a lovely film projector as part of that pop-up cinema, neighbourhood cinema thing back in when they had that about, I think it ended about 8-9 years ago. Our UK partners employ BFI network teams, ensuring the BFI network offer is accessible to filmmakers. So each partner is home to at least one BFI network talent executive. Ooh, the talent executive. Now they're somebody who's going to control that network. They will help to demystify the funding landscape. Gee, I guess, yeah, okay then. And promote the available BFI network funds as widely as possible. Yeah, well, that seems a good job. That's your job. Get on and make sure people know about it. But that's a lot of good gatekeeping, isn't it? Recommend eligible projects. Hello? What's eligible and what's not eligible? Huge gatekeeping. And absolutely necessary. Things need to be of a certain quality before you waste public money on them. But that quality is also not a creative quality. That quality is not experimental, which earlier, remember, they claimed they were involved in supporting, but they're not. Because if at this point the eligibility is all about that quality of organisation and production, they're not necessarily like, I don't write scripts. Oh, well, you can't apply for the film fund without a script. I don't do scripts. So, well, you can't apply for the film. Yeah, but who are you to say that that's how you make films? There's loads of ways to make films. And within a British film industry, we can have lots of different approaches. Within your diversity and inclusivity, within your working class, hello, that's coming. You know, it doesn't add up, does it? It doesn't add up to where I am. Filmmakers are by this whole system. It doesn't actually add up. We are neither artists, but over here we have to be a producer. Then we have to set up a limited company. Then we have to do as we're told. Then we have to make films the way the industry, mainstream industry, used to make them. Because now it's all vertical. You know, when will the BFI have their vertical fund? It won't be long, because they'll keep chasing. It's not easy to be a huge national institute. I get it. But, you know, we as filmmakers maybe need to take them to court a bit more often and challenge these kind of draconian things. Or maybe just talk about it. Just talking about it, putting it out there. What else we got here? So, provide creative oversight of funded projects in their area. Work closely with teams. Yeah, do a good job. So that was the job of the BFI Network Talent Executive, available in a region you're in, if you're in the UK. Tremendous. Future Take. So let's have a look. It's a thing called Future Take. So applications are now closed. Never mind, what was it? It was driven by a shared commitment to support audacious emerging talent to build sustainable and remarkable careers. BFI and Film 4 have joined forces. Yeah, great, love Film 4. I would heartily endorse their involvement in all of this sort of thing. So more Future Takes. Sound good. It's harder to get debut features financed. It is. But often, you know, they will... I know some people talk about, not me, will talk about, yeah, well, they're just funding nonsense and arty crap that nobody wants to see. So that's why it gets harder. And there might be a sense of that, but that's what you want, nonsense and arty crap, because that's what drives new voices, new ideas, you know, new audiences who don't want to see the same old thing. And in the UK, that same old thing is run by middle class and private school. Who can apply filmmakers? So that's Future Takes. Future Takes. So yeah, there we go. Look, BFI, watch and discover, learning and training, funding and industry. Get funding and support. At the BFI, we champion new talent and unfamiliar stories from unfamiliar voices. We aren't going to disagree with that. We're passionate about projects that reach new audiences, and we think we're passionate about projects that reach new audiences, and we back the international promotion of the UK industry. Yeah, of course you do, and should. You can't complain, can you? I think it's great, and I skipped over it. I didn't bring it in. The BFI do a lot of co-production work to encourage co-productions across different countries. Brilliant. You know, so there's an awful lot that has to happen at a really high level. Fine, of course it does. So why don't the Arts Council pick up the slack for people like me on the ground making films? Why do we have to go into this ball and chain of working in a career that drives people into 12-hour days and mental health issues? You know, it's like, really? That's what you're there for, the BFI? Because the American multi-million-pound people want to do another superhero movie in Manchester? Come on. Move faster. Move more flexibly. Let the Arts Council fund me and independent movie makers, independent movie directors. It ain't all about this old-fashioned mainstream kind of approach that needs a skilled sector. That's what the BFI is doing. It's a skills training organisation. Well, there is the skills training organisation. Well, I forget what they're called. A skill set. So they do that as well. Not going there today. Let's just look. Okay, so here's our BFI Network Early Development Fund. Oh, that sounds like me. I'm early development. Let's have a look. And basically, directly supports writers who do not have yet the first draft of a script. Are you even a writer if you don't have the first draft of a script? Hello? But if you're in the network, it doesn't matter. If you went to private school, it doesn't matter. If you know somebody, it doesn't matter. If you're a Nepo baby, it doesn't matter. We have a funding stream for you. Immersive work, part of the industry, because the studios are building situations well, it's available for immersive, so the BFI have to align with that, don't they, because the industry has changed. But somehow the BFI doesn't align with the fact that I can buy a broadcast quality, cinema quality camera for a couple of grand. Come on, BFI, align with me. Don't just align with a great big immersive film set studio and back that. Align this with this end of the emerging digital payoff. But no, because you're about the high-end major sector. There's a place for you, I get it, but I'm not in your place and no one's looking after me. You claim to be, and I like it, diversity, inclusivity, all of that, nurturing talent, supporting it. There should be a way for people like myself when I was like 30, 40 years younger, when you just stood there gatekeeping because you're all from London. So at least it's improved. You are getting better. Well done. What's that? Oh, it's a seal clapping. You know, you don't go, wow, that's really good. You're just amazed that it is doing. So you can be amazed that the BFI is actually bothering to do any of this, but it ain't doing it well. It isn't doing it well. And there's a gap, really. There's a gap. You know, give it to the government. There's a gap where people like myself are falling through. The British film industry is falling through. Independent makers doing the real thing of innovative, creative, new voices, new ideas, new stories, falling through the gap between the Arts Council funding support structures and encouragement and stamp of approval. You remember the thing of like the laurels? It's so important to get that stamp of approval on your work. The BFI do all that work, and it's like, if you're in the BFI network, you're fine. If you're not, you're no good. You're not even a filmmaker. And yet here we have writers who haven't even done a first draft, and yet they're going to be directly supported. Oh, good God, to produce an initial treatment. For goodness sake, that is weird. I mean, hell, if you're 16 to 25 and new and all that kind of thing, fair enough, but this doesn't say that. This is bizarre. 3 to 5 grand, yeah, fair enough. Develop a treatment, nice work if you can get it. The rest of us, just do it for free. Just do it all day long. Do it after our shifts. Do it between our working shifts and looking after the family and providing support in the community and providing media support in the community to lots of other activities. We're doing all that ourselves. You ain't picking up anything, BFI. You're not doing anything about that. You're just letting us. But meanwhile, you give 3 to 5 grand to an early development writer who hasn't even got a first draft. That is weird. Well, yeah, that is weird. Schedule, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, good. Good schedule's good. But is this the only way to make films? That's what I put on there. Is this the only way to make films? As I say, I don't get in. Well, I've been told, I don't even bother talking to them anymore, unfortunately. But, because honestly, the online stuff's great. I mean, get involved Sorry. Look, get involved. It's really good. And it can really suit. And if you get the finger comes down and it's you from the lottery, it's you who gets the laurels and the, that support that you need to get on in a creative life. Yeah, if somebody said you're good, that's great. So do it, go along, and the people are great, filmmakers are great, and they're all working really hard. And the people that get the funding is because they worked hard doing it, and they've got a bit of nous and a bit of something that they need. And if you're going to make any film, you need some nous, you need some business nous, you need some, I'm terrible at the old distribution thing. I just have not focused enough on it, as I'm enjoying making films. But, there's an awful lot of a wide skill set. Not knocking these people who manage to do it, and don't you knock them or just ignore. You get involved, because there's always little crumbs off the table that are going to be useful, and learning things. But it's not the only way to make films, and it doesn't account for any digital revolution, any digital evolution. So you've accommodated immersive production. You haven't accommodated local, regional production, digital production on hobby money. We're all using the same kit now on the film set. Okay, the lenses. So BFI, have a lens store. Allow me to hire some lenses, because I'm a recognised filmmaker. Let me have some cinema lenses. Why don't you do that? Spend a couple of $100,000, not on your film talent nurturing executives. Spend it on a lens pack that we can buy. Hey, maybe you do. Used to do that at Sheffield Independent Film. Lots of organisations will have things like that. Maybe you do. Let me know if you do. That'd be great. What else we got then? Quiet on set. Quiet on set. I'm going to have a break. Quiet on set. Okay, so recording again. I thought I'd have a bit of a break and calm down, rest the voice. So I don't want to rush through this whole section. Quiet on Set is a movie by this guy Mark Forbes, a documentary, an award-winning feature film documentary about the lack of working class representation in the industry. And it kind of mirrors his experience. When I've seen some of his interviews, there's one here on YouTube. Just do Mark Forbes. You will find it. Quiet on Set, the class division in the film industry. See some of the interview. This one here, the still I've got up, is from Canary. It's quite something. It is really quite something. He's not the only one either. Here's an equity page, working class creatives at the lowest level in a decade. BAFTA nominated actors 5 times more likely to have attended private school than the UK population. So, approximately 30 to over 40%, so they're trying, of UK film industry professionals, top UK film industry professionals and actors attended private schools. Now, it's 7% is the national average. That's huge, isn't it? 30-40% of this film industry, which I hope I've shown that the BFI is supporting the film industry. It's geared around that, and at the higher levels, I get it, executive government, lobbying, international cooperations and all that kind of thing. But where does it leave the filmmakers, the independent filmmakers, in a new digital era? Where are we left? We're in that gap. We've fallen down. And if you're not private school, are you even in the BFI network? And that's why they must continue with their brilliant diversity, inclusivity approach. I'm not here to slag the BFI off. I'm here to challenge it, and to challenge, as experimental movie director, challenge the whole ethos of the mainstream production and what cinema is as an art, because I am an artist, although the Arts Council of England disagree. So I fall through the gap. So 30 to 40% of the film industry is private schools. This is the Sutton Trust who did this research. 32% of high-profile actors attended independent schools. 42% of BAFTA winners, with that number rising to 67% for British Oscar winners. So 42% of BAFTA winners, 67% of British Oscar winners, private school. That's a network. That's what a network is. What a clique. And we know as filmmakers that if you've got access within that kind of monetized situation, it's going to be easy to raise money. It's going to be easy to be trusted with large amounts of money. You're going to have family friends. You're going to have friends of family friends. You're going to have your family that can help you. We already understand the nepotism in the film industry and in the mainstream Hollywood film industry, the daughters of, sons of, all the rest of it, who are making films and get access to making films. And the BFI, I guess, is attempting. I mean, there must be people in the BFI totally agreeing with everything I'm saying and wish it were different, but it's an institute that needs change, or it doesn't, because maybe my emphasis is like, you're fine, BFI, I don't quite get it, but that training and skill set into major production is really useful. It's really valuable what the BFI do, but it ain't the whole story of the film industry. The film industry, if we really want new audiences and new movies, new stories, new voices, then we need more than just inclusivity. You need me. You need my friends. You need new people like me who can make a movie, because it's all hobby money now, and can find some support, some validation, all of that kind of thing. That is what we need, and we're not going to get it. So we're not getting it from the Arts Council, so we're not artists. And they don't fund film, and they just go, hey, over to the BFI. The BFI is about the industry, and it's about a top end, and that industry itself is about top end. It's not about kitchen sink dramas. It's not about new British realism. It's not about that sort of thing. It's a miracle that any of those films do get made, isn't it? It's a miracle that we get any auteur work coming out. But the BFI is structured to scoop people, highlight them, support them, and then get them into the big productions, which is, I think it's fair enough. Maybe it's a very expensive fair enough. Maybe in terms of taxpayers' money, I don't want to upset an apple cart and have the blooming Taxpayers Alliance on all of this sort of nonsense with a small a. That kind of thing of why are we funding this, that and the other. It's like, no, we've got to fund it. We should be funding this inclusivity and diversity. It's massive. We should be funding emergence. We should be having training situations available to people. Of course, not bothered at all. But media and TV, 38% of the wealthiest individuals in film, television and music went to private school. Music there. So it's not just the film industry is suffering from this. It's a whole British class system that generates this. But we are here about film. I'm here about film. I'm not making bigger claims than that as such. But in the film, because of the nature of digital production, because of the nature of digital innovation, digital disruption, the BFI are disrupting the disruption and maintaining a pointless old-fashioned status quo. But carry on, BFI, with what you're doing and nurturing talent and focusing on the inclusivity, and don't give the money to old white males like myself. I get that. You're probably not legally allowed to say that for the BFI, but I understand that and I support that. But there should be somewhere for me to go. There should be some kind of support structure. I should be able to classify myself as an artist making a film, not an artist using film, not film as art, but a filmmaker. Remember back earlier in this presentation, it's about narrative. Your narrative, we don't support narrative. Phew, thank God for that. Tick one off before we have to start looking at the merits of it. Not eligible. That's wrong. I think it's challengeable, and we're slipping through the gap. There's your Martin, the Documentary Film Council director, is Scottish, I think it's Scotland. Award-winning Scottish filmmaker. Through his own money, has gone out and made this film and interviewed lots of people in the industry and made a fantastic film. It has been around. It is played every so often in cinemas. So please pay attention. Get onto Mark Forbes. Support this. Follow him. Total film, television, video sector contribution to the UK economy, 12.6 billion. That's fantastic, isn't it? Well done. Well done. Generated 3 billion in inward investment in 2019. These are the figures on by Social Films that they've put up on their website. Great visual effects. 2/3 of people visiting the UK said they're here because of locations they've seen in British movies. It's great that we have a BFI supporting this kind of activity and making sure British screens and British screen products are all over the world, encouraging people for all kinds of benefits to our economy. But that ain't about cinema. It ain't about the industry that includes me, includes people I know, includes freelance directors. It isn't about that. Don't claim that it is, I would say. Now, how does this compare? Because we're not economic people, but basically there's your agriculture sector at 13 billion, construction 129 billion, blah blah blah. So mainly it's services. His sector is the gross value added, they call it here. 80% of the UK economy is service. So to get 0.5% of British movies, wow. So I understand the creative sector as a whole is about 70 billion. Oh, hang on. Digital sector, 150 billion. So that's more than construction. Creative industries, 115 billion. More than construction. Oh no, a bit less than construction. But that's a huge amount. These are big money. This British film industry, that, as defined by the BFI, is still 12.6 billion. It's 13 billion. That's a lot of good cash being spent and inwardly invested. So come on. But there's got to be room. If we want an actual flourishing cinema, a creative thing, the BFI ain't doing creative. It's disrupting the disruption that the digital is offering. So yeah, a bit of a shame, really. Okay, here's a spreadsheet and a bunch of text. Now this is me wrapping up nice and calmly. Please apply, because there's a great answer, isn't there? Well, if you don't apply, we won't change it. Don't just give up. No, that there's something to be said for that. But look, if you're going to apply, please do. Please always do, in my opinion. I do, hence having some documents here and some recent experience in the game. Although it is very distressing, so at least I got a podcast to talk about it with. But make your notes, because I said right at the beginning, the applications are fantastic. They really do pressure you. This isn't about being cynical and throwing the whole thing away. Funding, you're going to get nothing better than BFI and Arts Council funding applications in terms of preparation for investment. I mean, that's a real hard thing. You want 50 grand to make a film? Well, if you had 50 grand, would you be spending it on a film? No, you wouldn't. You'd be putting it down as a deposit on a property. You'd be buying a new car. You'd be investing in ISAs or whatever. You wouldn't spend it on a movie because you're just going to lose it. So if you're going to be in the game of needing money to make your movies, then you need to be in the game of being able to do applications, being able to express succinctly and in detail with budgets, using their spreadsheets and all that kind of thing. You've got to get in that game as a producer. And we know freelancers are director, producer, writers. That's what we are as filmmakers. That's certainly what I want as an auteur, experimental movie director. I want to use the digital to be an artist, an individual artist creating a movie, which it's kind of like a narrative movie, essentially. But I don't want the word narrative to be a tick box that means I can be exempted from Arts Council applications anymore. I don't like that. I think it's a huge gap for us. I guess you get the picture. What I'm saying is it's good practice. Write these applications. Accept that you're not going to get there, but it's good to focus your ideas for films, for movies. In this case, this was about research for some workshops, and gets you doing the budgets, gets you doing all of that. Of course, you're a grown-up. So it's great as a filmmaker, as an experimental maker, all of that. You need it. You need the skill set. You need to go through the horror of writing down exactly what you mean when you're kind of wanting to be vague and artistic or something at certain stages. Those early stage writers who haven't even done a draft, but you can still be in the early stage fund applying for 3,000 to 5,000, kind of crazy network. You must have gone to private school to be that entitled to think you can have that. 3,000 to 5,000 will do me a feature film, thank you. So, and plenty of people I know will be able to do it within that, even paying decent rates, even paying proper rates, because all films are compromises, and all films have to be made within a budget, and all films have to be made towards what's available for that filmmaker. Because an artist, you look around the world and you go, hey, I can make a film here, there, and it can be about this, and that'll be fine. And gradually you reach a limit, I guess, to that, and it's like, oh, I can't extend to that. Well, you then make a different film, or you get involved in the BFI kind of thing. We just need just a stepping stone before the ladder of make your short film with a script, get your script approved, then you can make a short film, get a producer attached to it who's already in the network and has been approved prior for funding. Yes, we like them, we understand them, this is good, got a good application. Or kind of, well, why don't you put an application into your private school buddy's niece or nephew, or however the hell it works. Or essentially, it's not all that, is it? It's like, oh, you've been funded, we know you, we can work with you. They're not going to work with me with my attitude, but they will work with somebody else with the same attitude as me. And good on them, and don't waste money on old white men. I get it. I'm not a problem with that, but that isn't your answer. Your answer was, we're the Arts Council, and you're not an artist because you're a filmmaker. You go to the BFI. I'm not a filmmaker, so I'm not doing a script first. Those are the answers. Legally challengeable. What do you think? Let me know what you think. Follow Mark Forbes. Get to see that movie. I haven't seen it yet. I've seen clips, and I've seen interviews with him. The working class, the lack of working class. I mean, here's something. We talked about this in the general election, that, people are switched off in the working class from politics because they're not represented. And I'm thinking, well, are they? Or is it that they're not represented on television anymore? And they're not represented in movies anymore, and that's where they're not represented. That the stories from our lives, however you define working class, we're going to get into that, but you're not getting those stories as part of the general culture, the British film culture. Why are you not getting it? Because they're all public school. Half of them are public school. Wow. Public school, private school, whatever the point is, the independent schools. They're rich people. And the BFI is for the rich people because it's necessarily for the top aspects of the industry. That is a necessarily role of an institute like that. Okay, I'll leave that there. I won't expand into the British Board of Film Classification. We'll save that for another one. Thank you, Mark Forbes, for your movie. Thank you for making the effort to do that, and thank you to all the filmmakers applying for this funding, applying to get on, and congratulations to those working through that short film to feature film. You have my backing, you have my support. I'm not against this. This is not an against thing. It's not even against the BFI. It's just there's a gap. There's a gap between the Arts Council and what film actually is today, and we're suffering. And the Arts Council never used to fund music. They have changed. We can steer that oil tanker a different way. And maybe the Arts Council isn't the answer, maybe it is BFI, but I don't trust the BFI. So I'd much rather the Arts Council allowed filmmakers to be filmmakers and develop the cinematic art for the country, and that is a separate pathway. I want the BFI to come clean that it's disrupting the disruption and maintaining a jobbing, skills sharing sector that can generate and make use of this 12.6 billion. It's an economic position, not a creative one. The Arts Council, get more creative. Find a space for us. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Tell your friends, share, enjoy, think, make movies.